Yo, what's up guys? Today's video is going to be about how to make your time more meaningful. I thought this video could help all my people out there that always feel like they're just waiting for their next big event all the time. The people that feel like all that time in between those events doesn't even matter, which is so far from the truth. This used to be me. I used to just go from event to event, and all the time in between I would just use to I'd fill that time with like mindlessly going through Netflix binges just to not even remember what I watched a week later. And that's no way to live life. It was like that for me for a while until I discovered one simple thing that you can do to make it so that every hour becomes more precious. And once you do this thing, you'll start actively removing the things from your life that suck your time away because you just want to go run back to doing this thing. And this one simple thing I'm referring to is a project. To make your time more meaningful, you have to build something, not like an actual building or anything. We're not talking about construction work. We're talking about just something kind of creative that you can work on for a long period of time. Something that if you made it and you were to look back on it, you would be like, oh yeah, baby, I made that. I know for a lot of you that probably sounds like homework, but I promise you it is much more than that. This thing is going to be something you actually enjoy doing. You see, right now, the reason you are going from event to events and feeling this almost existential dread during the whole time in between is because those events end. Once it's over, you can maybe reflect on the good times and look at pictures, but for the most part, there's no revisiting that period in time. So it's just gone, and you have to look forward to the next occasion. But let's say you created something really cool. Let's say you're into building flying drones. That would be really cool, by the way. I wish I could do that. But let's say you built your first flying drone. It's not the prettiest, but after some trials and some failures, it's a drone and it flies. And it makes you happy because you completed a hard task of building a drone. Most people can't do that. And now, unlike those events that came and went, that flying drone exists for as long as you want to keep it. It's still there, wherever you left it. And the cherry on top is you actually enjoyed creating it too. So you know what you can do if you want to feel that joy again? You can build another flying drone. Or even better, you can improve your first one. And now you have yourself a project. And if you pick the right project, the one that is going to get you excited to go back to it every single time, then your time automatically becomes more precious to you because you know that with that time, with any free time that you get, you can just go back to doing that thing that makes you happy. Kind of like playing video games does for most of us, but it's actually going to be productive. But to make sure that you are getting the most out of your project, here are a couple of guidelines I would suggest you follow when trying to pick the right thing for you. Number one, like I mentioned before, it has to be something you enjoy. If you don't actually enjoy creating it or doing it or whatever your project is, you're just going to quit in less than a week, and that is just a waste of time. The second thing is that the project has to challenge you. There has to be some kind of skill or barrier involved in it that makes it require some real effort. The reason being is you have to be able to get better at it. Because if you get too good at something and you stop being challenged by it, you get bored and you quit and you wasted your time again. So make sure it's actually something kind of challenging, like building a drone, like I mentioned before, that not every person can do like at a whim. There should be some kind of skill barrier that separates you from the people that can do it, and there should be a skill gap that separates you from the best people to do that thing. That way you have something to work towards, making it a lifelong, never-ending project. And the third thing is that you should find some kind of value in it. This is your why. This should be more than I like drones. It should be, I like drones because they have changed the way people film cinematic cutscenes in my favorite movies. Or it doesn't even have to be that serious. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It could be like, it could just be, I like drones because I enjoy flying them. Joy is a great reason. Most people lack joy in their life, so think about what really does that for you. Okay, so if you create a project with these three guidelines in mind, you'll realize that every hour was not created equally. There is a big difference between that hour you spend watching Netflix and an hour you spend creating something that excites you or makes you feel productive and accomplished. The hardest part about this is always going to be picking the project and starting, but my advice to you is to just not overthink it. There's nothing worse than having an idea that you once thought was really good and then you just like think your way out of it. That happens to me all the time. I mean, I try to prevent doing that now, but anytime you have an idea, just write it down and try to see it through. So the second that idea sparks in your mind, just go for it. Like, see what it takes to actually go about the action part of it. Give it a set time frame for how long you're going to be doing it, and actually follow through until the date you set. I personally suggest making it no shorter than 3 months, which seems like a long time, but I think it's a good enough time to fully explore the idea and go from beginner to intermediate and know if it's something that you want to continue. And if not, lesson learned. Don't beat yourself up about it if you pick something and it turns out you didn't enjoy it as much as you thought. Because when you do find that thing, just by testing and trial and error, you are going to want to go running back to it every second of every day. Nothing beats that feeling, but you don't get it unless you try. And who knows, the thing you were kind of shaky on, you might actually end up really enjoying. And I promise you, after you discover that thing, the only thing you'll be counting down from that point on is the time it takes you from getting from doing what you're doing now to back to working on that project, because you want every second with that project. And a bonus tip for this is that if you're really about it, share your project with like-minded people. This could be just people in your friend groups, some people that you've met doing the thing, or just sharing it online. Like, I mean, that's what most people do nowadays, right? Because then you are not only working on something that fulfills you, but you're doubling down by joining a small community of people who actually enjoy it with you. All right, so that's my advice on one thing you could do to make your time more meaningful. I appreciate you tuning in as always. And if you like this video, you'll definitely like the video I made about how to start building your happiness. It's a very similar concept. It's super short, so if you want to check that out, check that out. Anyways, my name is Jay Hopes. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks again. Peace.